There we go. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to introduce you to charcoal, and we're going to use your willow charcoal, these smaller pieces of charcoal that are really soft. And then we're going to use your charcoal pencil. And I believe I've given you one charcoal pencil, and it's 6B. See it here on the back? That is the one charcoal pencil that you have. Okay, so we're going to make some value scales with the willow and the charcoal pencil. So first, in your sketchbook, go ahead and grab your piece of willow, and your fingers and your hands are going to get a little bit dirty, but that's okay. You can always wash them off. So first, what you want to do with your willow is kind of get it started, to kind of get the feel of it. So see how when I used it there, I kept my strokes really close together. I didn't do something like this. That's really squiggly and scratchy. You don't really want to ever do that, because you can see why. If I were to blend this in with my finger, see how I can still see the line that's underneath there? But then if I were to come over here and blend this in, then it's like a nice soft gray, okay? So this is always how you want to use your charcoal, your willow, your charcoal pencils, anything. You always want it to be strokes that are really close together. Or you can use, if you have a small enough piece, and maybe if you're shading in a big object, you can use the whole side of it. But then again, my strokes are really short. I'm not like going all over the place. I'm not like making big, drastic strokes. I'm keeping them really close together and small, still like that. So again, when I blend it in, it's just like a nice soft gray. So maybe kind of practice that a little bit just to kind of get comfortable with the willow. Okay, so first we're going to make some value scales. So first I'm going to use willow, right? So there's a couple of ways we're going to do this. The first way is we are going to go from dark to light, and we're going to gradually get lighter, okay? And we're going to gradually get lighter by using the pressure or how many layers we put down. And we never want to be like pressing really, 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 really hard. See how, yes, it gets super dark, but we never want to press hard with our willow or our charcoal pencil because it ruins the paper underneath, and then you don't have that much to spread around. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to go dark to light. So, and how am I going to get it darker? Not by pressing hard. I layer it several times, and then when I feel like I got it nice and dark, then I'm going to go ahead and gradually move my hands. And see how I'm gradually letting it get lighter. I'm lightening up on my pressure until I get as light as I can. This is tricky. It's tricky to just let it gradually get lighter. And don't use your finger to blend it in. That's cheating right now. We don't want to touch it. We just want to leave it alone. So let's do it again, because this takes a lot of practice. I'm going to get it nice and dark by doing a lot of layers. Letting up on my pressure. Now I want to get like a medium value. Light. Now I want to get even lighter. And your scales may end up shorter, or they may end up longer than mine. You know, it just kind of depends how you gradually taper off. So try to do at least 2 of these. If you want to do more, do more. More always helps with practice, okay? So do at least 2 of those gradual tapering off little value scales. All right, so now we're going to do another way. So now we're going to go from light to dark. So with this one, we're going to draw a long rectangle, okay? And then in that rectangle, you're going to divide it up into 5 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're not really even, but that's okay. Okay, so now we kind of Well, I'll talk about that in a second. So this first square is blank, okay? And that first square is called your highlight, okay? That's the brightest part of any object, the highlight or the glare, the white area. So we're going to leave that one alone. So that was easy. And now we're going to gradually build up and get darker. Okay, so when we do this, so up here we were going like vertically, right? Well, now I'm going to change directions because it's just easier. And I'm going to do horizontal, like so, okay? And so see how when I'm doing this, my lines, my strokes are all close together. Okay, I'm not like doing some weird textured scratchiness or just doing little bits like this, okay? I want to fill the whole square. And so this is tricky if you've never done this before. So I'm going to try and get this second square as light as possible because I have my highlight and then I want it really light here. So again, I get it started over here. And then I'm going to try and get those strokes as close together because I don't want there to be lines. And that's tricky. So there's value number 2. And don't use your fingers to blend it in. Don't cheat, just leave it alone. All right, and so then the third square, I'm going to get a little bit darker. So I'm going to apply a little more pressure. Not too much because you don't want it to be too drastic of a change. And you may have to do this value scale a couple of times to kind of get it down. I'm just going to do it here once in the video, but you might have to do it more than once to kind of get the hang of it. All right, so I have highlight, light, a little bit dark, and now we're going to get a little bit darker. So now I'm going to apply a little bit more pressure, but watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down, and it's already pretty dark. It's already a little bit darker. But then if I want it darker again, I can add another layer to it like that. You might not have to. It kind of depends what your previous square looks like. That will gauge your next square, but you might have to add another layer to it. It just depends. And then my last square, I'm going to get it nice and dark. I'm not going to press hard. I'm going to layer it. So watch. So I went down and I go back up. And I'm going to go back down again. Maybe another one. So the willow, it's pretty easy to get nice and dark, but do it by layering, not by pressing really hard. And so really the best way to shade, like, because with this, like how we divided up these values, I mean, really, you never really want to see how they're divided up like this. You really always want to shade like how we did up here in those. This is just another good example of like breaking down the values to light, medium, and dark, this one. So go ahead and try that one and try to get at least one good value scale that's broken up into these squares with the willow. All right, so then we'll do this again with your 6B charcoal pencil, and it should say 6B right here, and then it also says extra soft. Okay, so that means this charcoal is going to be really soft and it's going to get dark pretty quickly. All right, so let's go ahead and write 6B pencil. You can be on the same page or a new page. It's really up to you with how much room you have. So now, again, I'm going to do what I did up here with the willow, but now I'm going to use my charcoal pencil. And look at how I'm holding my charcoal pencil. I'm holding it kind of towards the middle, towards the back, kind of loosely. I don't want to hold it like a regular pencil because if I do that, then I tend to like press really hard. And again, we never really want to do that. You always want to hold it kind of loosely towards the back. So we're going to do what we did up here. We're going to go dark to light. So again, this guy likes to get dark really quick, but I'm not going to press hard. I'm just going to layer it. And then after I feel like I got a nice darkness, then I'm ready to move to like more of a lighter middle value. And sometimes see how I have to go back and forth a little bit to kind of even out what I previously did. So this guy doesn't want to get light at all. You might a little bit. So I'm going to try and lighten up on my pressure as much as I can. But that's about it. So there's one. And then go ahead and do another one. Do more if you want, but try and do at least 2 of these. Because none of us are going to be perfect the first time. Maybe. But so I get dark, lighting up on my pressure to get that medium value. And I gradually get it lighter. Okay, so you want this to blend softly from dark to light. So try to get 2 of those, at least 2. All right, so then lastly, we're going to do another value scale where we break it up into squares. So again, I'm going to draw a nice long rectangle. It's probably too long. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our first square is blank, and that's called our highlight. So we're going to leave that alone. So again, we're going to go light to dark. So it's going to be really hard for this guy to have this really light value, but you're going to try your best. And again, just like with the willow, see how my strokes are really close together. It's like just like a constant movement. I don't want it to be like this. See that? That's scratchy and liney, and it's not going to get us anywhere. Because again, if I try and blend that in, see how those lines stay visible? Whereas here, again, it's just like a nice soft gray. So it's really important to use your pencil close together. All right, so let's try and make this second square really light and not have lines, which I kind of just did. It's really hard for him to get light. He kind of starts off medium from the willow because it's so soft, and that's okay. So try to get as light as possible, as less pressure as possible for square number 2. And then moving on to number 3. And again, remember how to hold your pencil. Hold it towards the back, towards the middle, kind of loose. I kind of went back up again because I felt like I needed it to get a little bit darker than my previous square. So maybe you have to do that. You go down, and then you go back up, depending on what your previous square was. And now I'm going to make square number 4. So again, I'm going to apply a little bit more pressure than previous. And I need to do another layer. And maybe another layer. Be careful, don't get too dark too quick. That'll be the last square. So now my last square, I want it nice and dark. And watch how I'm going to do this one. I'm going to change directions. So I'm going to do something called cross hatching. So see how I went back up? And now I'm going to go the opposite direction. And when you do stuff like that, it kind of helps fill it in a little bit more when you change directions and do cross hatching. But no matter what, I'm still keeping the same amount of pressure I used earlier on, but I'm just layering to get it to be nice and dark. And does it have to be like a super matte black dark? No. You don't have to like have it super dark. You can still see a little bit of the paper through there. That's okay. All right, so at least try and do one of those with your 6B pencil. All right.